Hi, this is Billy Tarasio from Modern Law Practice, and today I want to talk to you about Net Promoter Score. You've probably heard of NPS, and even if you haven't heard of NPS, you are familiar with it. And it's kind of a big deal. It kind of makes a lot of splash, and you've probably heard about it, and you probably get questions. Today I want to talk to you about what it is, why you should care, how you should implement it, and then probably throw in some horror stories of how things went very, very wrong. So first of all, Net Promoter Score came out of the 80s when a bunch of companies were doing consumer research analysis, and they were asking their customers all sorts of questions to try to determine what their future buying behavior was. Now, this was before the internet, it was before Google searches, and they paid some researchers to go out and figure it out. And what they figured out was that there was one particular question that predicted the growth of companies and the future behavior of consumers better than any other question, and you really only needed one question. Now, you're familiar with this question because you get asked it by everyone, by hotels, by gas stations, by restaurants, by airlines, by rental car companies. And the question is, on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend your company, let's say Modern Law, to your friends and family? 9s and 10s are promoters, 7s and 8s are neutrals, 6 and unders are detractors. Okay, so you've heard the question, you know you get asked it, but you're not exactly sure why it matters. And it matters because the score of your company will predict your growth or your demise. When we implemented this in my firm in Modern Law, it was probably 4 years ago. And at first there was a lot of pushback and we did it wrong. And that pushback really encouraged me to dig in and read the book. There's an actual book written by it and get all the background because I had to be able to defend this to my attorneys who did not like being judged. They did not like being evaluated. They came up with all sorts of reasons why this was a terrible system. I never give 9s or 10s, they would say. I never give 10s. 8's pretty good. The client's crazy. We should disregard that answer. And I started tying Net Promoter Score, customer feedback, to bonuses. In fact, there's 2 things in my firm that cause our company to do a group bonus every quarter. And that's how we reached our revenue goal and have we met our Net Promoter Score goal. So let me give you an example of how you come up with the score. Just lay it out really simply. If you have 10 customers that you've asked on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend Modern Law to your friends and family? Let's say that 5 of those people are a 9 or a 10. They're promoters. And 2 of those people are detractors. They gave you 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1. Your score is 5 out of 10, 50, minus your detractors, 2 out of 10. So your score is 30. Your Net Promoter Score, can be anything from negative 100 all the way to positive 100. And you might be shocked to find out your actual score. One thing I might recommend you do prior to tying your score to bonuses or to incentives is maybe just measure for a little while and figure out where your baseline is. Because more important than what your actual score is your score going up or is your score going down? And I look at this for my firm, but also for individual attorney paralegal teams. And it's really a great way to get information and feedback. One particular attorney hated the measurement of Net Promoter Score. He was not a people person. He probably didn't belong in Modern Law because he really didn't like people. And we're in the business of people. We're a divorce and family law firm, and what we do all day, every day involves people. And we had come from a firm that did kind of high volume, process a lot of people through a system, litigate cases when necessary. And he was good at that. He was a skilled practitioner and a good attorney, but he lacked the soft skills that you really need in order to be successful at Modern Law, because our clients expect that the soft skills, they they expect that we're checked in, that we're empathetic, that we are living by all of our values. And so his net promoter score was bad, really bad. And he pushed back again and again and again against the system. And I asked him to read the book, and I talked to him about it over and over again. He failed to understand how important this was to me. And during one particular meeting, had a complete and total temper tantrum in the meeting in front of everyone. And that was my last straw. That was this guy will never work if he doesn't take my feedback. And if he doesn't take the feedback of our clients, he will never work at Modern Law. And that was his last day at Modern Law. Since then, my other attorneys and staff understand how important it is and do not push back. It's still hard when we get reviews that are neutrals or negatives. We really work very, very hard to get positive reviews, positive feedback on our net promoter score. And while I'm talking about that, I want to talk to you for a minute about reviews. It's easy to understand or to get kind of blur the line between net promoter score and online reviews. Now, I use the net promoter score opportunity to collect reviews, but I also collect reviews throughout the case. We only ask for the net promoter score one time, and that's after the case has closed. So we ask every single client after the matter has closed. I have my intake team call the client. If they can't get a hold of the client, I have them leave a message that says, "Hello, Bobby. This is Sarah from Modern Law. Give me a call back." The reason is people are very likely to call back their law firm. They're less likely to call back if you say, "This is Sarah from Modern Law, and I'm calling to get your feedback on our case." You're less likely to get a response, and we really, really want a response. My intake team is instructed to call at least 3 times and text in order to collect this feedback, this very important feedback, and we take it very seriously. This is so important that it's part of the intake process at Modern Law Intake. Part of what our people do for the attorneys that we work with is collect the net promoter score. So we call and then we ask the question, on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend us to your family and friends? Then they give the answer, and the follow-up question is, "Thank you very much. What's the primary purpose for your score?" Or "What's the reason for your score?" Yeah, really, it's supposed to be very, very structured. What is the primary purpose for your score? And that should be the follow-up to whatever it is. And then my intake team writes it down. Now, if it's a positive feedback, I ask them to go a step further and say, "I want to thank you so much for your time today. I know it's very valuable, and I know that everybody is asking you for these scores. But as a thank you for taking the time, I'm going to go ahead and send you a $50 Amazon gift card. Use that for whatever you'd like. You can get all sorts of things on Amazon. And I'm also going to send you a link to where you can post these thoughts online anonymously should you so choose. It really makes a massive difference to our law firm, and we really appreciate you taking the time." Then send the gift card, regardless of whether or not they give you an online review. However, they're more likely to give you an online review if you sent the gift card. This is money well worth it. People, customers truly care about reviews. A couple more things on NPS, and then I promise I'll stop. People everywhere are gaming and trying to game the Net Promoter System. And I've seen this in two instances. First, I was in a restaurant. This was a chain restaurant, a franchise, and it said, "Free smoothie if you rate us a 5 out of 5. Net Promoter Score can either be 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10. It depends on which, and if you're rating on a scale of 0 to 5, then 5's a promoter and 4's a neutral. So 3 and below are detractors. It's the same scale, it's just we use 0 to 10. That is not okay. Okay, that is gaming the system. That is not going to predict your growth, okay? And the reason you don't want to game the system is because you're using this to truly understand how your clients feel, not in order to game the system. The second time it happened, I was dropping off a rental car and I wanted a ride. And so I asked this gentleman, there were like 3 of them standing around, and I asked this gentleman if he wouldn't mind giving me a ride back to my hotel. And he said, "Sure, as long as you'll give me a 5 out of 5 on my customer satisfaction thing." And I was so irritated. Now, I think it was Hertz, and if I remember correctly, no, it was Enterprise. And Enterprise sort of famously hires college athletes to work for their company. And they do that because college athletes know how to work hard, they're competitive, they're driven. Well, they also know how to game the system. And this person was absolutely gaming the system. You want to make sure in your law firm that the system is not gamed, that everyone understands how important this feedback is, that people are not punished for feedback, but that it's then incorporated into your policies, into the way you do business, that good NPS is celebrated, that negative and neutral is truly analyzed, and it's part of our process in our weekly meetings. We go over any reviews or any scores we've gotten. I encourage you to make Net Promoter Score part of what you do at your law firm. Beginning to collect feedback will not only show your customers that you truly care, it will make you a better lawyer and it will make your firm more customer-centric. If you have follow-up questions, hit me up. I've been doing it for 4 years. I've done it wrong. The reason we ask at the end of every single case is because I used to ask intermittently throughout the case, and it'll screw up your score. So figure out how you're going to ask and ask it the same way every single time. And if you have questions or you run into problems, get a hold of me. Look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.